What is up, YouTube? And welcome back to my channel here at Nick Reads Books. My name is Nick, and today I'm going to be going through a July TBR and a June book haul. So starting off with my July TBR, the first book I've been reading for the month and the one I've been focusing on the most is Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. This is the fourth book in the Store My Archive, and it is an absolute chunky boy. It's over 1,200 pages. As of right now, I'm currently 815 pages in, just about to get to the end of part 3 of the book. Overall, I've been really enjoying the book so far. It's I don't know if I would say it's my favorite Stormlight Archive book to date, but I'm looking forward to seeing how the book ends. As many of you would know, the Sanderlanche is a big part of most of Brandon Sanderson's books. Leading up to the end, there's always big moments, stand up and cheer moments. So book number 2 for the month of July is going to be A Court of Thorns and Roses, the first book in the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas. Currently I've read about 170 pages. Overall I'm enjoying the experience. I would say the first person narration is a bit unusual for me, a bit different. I don't know how I'm liking that. Overall, I think the story currently, I'm about 18 chapters in, is I don't want to say stagnant, but is definitely feels like not a lot is going on. There's been bigger plot points alluded to. There's been some exciting chapters, and I know in the next couple of chapters there's some very exciting moments, according to my girlfriend. So once I finish the Rhythm of War, I'm looking forward to quickly finishing off A Court of Thorns and Roses. So now for a bit of a change to pace, the third book slash manga that I want to read in July is going to be Volume 3 of Vinland Saga. This series follows Thorfinn, son of Thor? No, Thorfinn, son of Tors, I believe, is the way it is said. And the overall plot of the series follows the Vikings move into England and an eventual, I believe, discovery of Canada and the US, or Vinland as it's referred to. At the moment the art style is amazing, and I'm pretty sure it only gets better from here on out. I bought all 13 volumes at once, as you should, without reading a single page. It is definitely one of the big 3 seinens out there, that Berserk and Vagabond, which I'm all reading currently. It's an amazing series, and I can't recommend it enough. So the fourth book this month that I want to read is a bit of a surprise to me, and won't be a surprise to you at all because who knows what I'm going to read. But the fourth book that I want to read this month is Malice by John Gwynne, the first book in the Faithful and the Fallen series. I was trawling through YouTube, as many do, on Booktube, and I came across a video by Rekindled Reader. He's got an amazing channel, great quality videos, and I think our tastes align. He is currently starting a read-along with the brothers Gwynne on their YouTube channel, and they're going to be going through the 4 books over the next 4 months. And I've read The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne, and I really enjoyed that story, and I've heard great things from Mike's book reviews about The Faithful and the Fallen, and I thought it'd be a perfect time to jump in to that series. I don't have the physical copy of the book. I'm going to be reading it on my Kindle. So yeah, looking forward to jumping into that. I know absolutely nothing about this series really, and look forward to discovering it over the next 4 months. So I don't usually read more than, let's say, 3 or 4 books a month, but I've got a couple of smaller ones in here that I hope to get to before the end of the month. And the 5th book is The Third Secret Project by Brandon Sanderson. I'll keep the title vague like that, as a lot of people don't want to know the title until they've read it, and you know, fair on them. But it comes out on the 11th. I didn't back the Kickstarter, so I don't get it on the 1st of July, so I won't be starting that until at least the 11th. But overall, I've heard relatively good things. I think it will be a story that I'll really enjoy. I've heard it gets a lot of inspiration from manga and Japanese and Final Fantasy X, all things I really enjoy, so I'm looking forward to that. And to finish off this month's reading, I got a relatively short one, and that is going to be Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett. The Color of Magic is the first of the Discworld books, and the first book released by Terry Pratchett. I originally have tried to read this book. This was before I read anything by Terry Pratchett. I've heard it's not the best point to start off with, so I kind of put it down and I went over to Mort by Terry Pratchett, which I absolutely loved, and it's kickstarted my enjoyment of the Discworld series. But it's more of a palate cleanser towards the end of the month before I jump into more books in August. The Color of Magic kicks off the Wizards sub-series of Discworld, and I look forward to, over the next couple of months, reading Light's Fantastic and Sorcery, the next two in the Wizards sub-series. So now moving on, I'm going to go through the books I acquired in the month of June. I have a serious problem, as most of you probably also do, with buying books. I can't go a week without either ordering one on Amazon or buying one at my local bookstore. So got quite a substantial pile here that I'll go through. And starting off with the first book, we have Witch King by Martha Wells. Don't know much about this book. Definitely heard Martha Wells is the author of the Murderbot Diaries, which is a series I think that is held with quite high acclaim amongst the fantasy and sci-fi community. Definitely heard that she's a good author. So yeah, looking forward to getting into Witch King at some point. So the second book we have here is The Tyranny of Faith by Richard Swan. The second book in the Emperor of the Wolf series, follows the Justice of Kings, which I read the month before, May, towards the end of May, and it would have to be one of my best reads so far this year. Really solid entry into the trilogy. I've heard that this book is as good, if not better. So yeah, look forward to reading that hopefully before the end of the year. And yeah, absolutely love the cover. Beautiful cover on the front there. I assume that depicts our main character, Velda. Shows how much I enjoyed this book. I'm sure it's Velda. Anyway, Von Volt is the best character in this book anyway. So next up we have, going back to the man, the myth, the legend, Brandon Sanderson. I've got the fourth book in the Mistborn Era 2 series, and that is The Lost Metal, here in the US edition hardcover. Living in Australia, we don't get many hardcovers, and we get the UK edition of the books, which some people will probably disagree, but I don't really like the UK editions of the all of Brandon Sanderson's book really. I think they're quite plain with the mostly white and characters depicted on the front. I like the more old school fantasy. You got your characters, especially with the Stormlight Archive covers. You got Shalon on the front there, and Adolin on the back. No, you can't see that, but Adolin on the back. Yeah, I just really like those covers better than the UK one, so I decided to get the US edition on Amazon, and it came a few weeks ago. So this next one is another hardcover. It is the Elric of Milneborn, or the Eldrick Saga by Michael Moorcock. To be honest, I have been seeing a lot of this saga up on Booktube in the last couple of weeks, especially over on the Fantasy Network channel with Jimmy. He really had high praises for Michael Moorcock. It's more of a traditional fantasy, and really, obviously a lot is spoken about Tolkien and his influences on the fantasy genre, but also Michael Moorcock and the Eldritch Saga had similar effects for a lot of current fantasy authors. So I'm excited to see how it standed up over the course of time. And really love the cover. Yet again, the old school sort of fantasy covers. Amazing artwork instead of kind of what you feel like we get today with a lot of generic cover art. So switching it up a little bit, we're going back over to manga, and here I've got volume 5 of the Berserk deluxe editions. These are absolutely beautiful. Obviously mine is still in the plastic wrapping, haven't gotten to reading it yet, but these, yeah, absolutely stunning. These are the best deluxe edition of any manga I've collected so far, and I'm sure a lot of you would know how influential Berserk is, especially in the seinen manga, and just overall just an amazing series. A lot of booktubers have been picking up Berserk over the last year and a bit, feels like, and it's amazing to see manga getting more of a spotlight in the, I feel like, the fantasy and sci-fi genre, or by fantasy and sci-fi lovers. A lot of amazing stories in manga that have fantastical elements, which I think don't get spoken about enough, especially my favourite, One Piece. Personally, I think it is the best story I've ever read and ever will probably experience. The level of depth, world building, characters, just the sheer number of characters, and the plot is amazing, and I can't wait to see how it all ends. So yeah, but here we have Berserk volume number 5. So rounding out the books that I received in June, we have 2 books by Steven Erikson and the Malazan Book of the Fallen. We have House of Chains and Midnight Tides, book 4 and 5 of the Malazan series. Really love these covers and the books. Well, I haven't read them, but now I know what you all might be thinking. Has he begun this absolutely huge fantasy series of Malazan? No. Will I continue to keep buying the books? Yes. Is it bad for my bank account? Yes. Do I plan to read the series or even start the series before the end of the year? No. Will I probably buy the whole series before I even start it? Yes. Now that we've got that all out of the way, yeah, I hope to pick up a few more Malazan books before the end of the year, and just have them there sitting on my shelf looking all pretty. So that wraps up my July TBR and June book haul. Thank you all for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you back here soon. I plan to put together a review for Rhythm of War. I hope to finish it within the next couple of days. Got just over 400 pages left. And yeah, hope to see you there. I'll have it split it up into a spoiler and spoiler-free section, so if you haven't read the Stormlight Archive, you can watch a little bit of it, but I'll see you then. See ya.